In order to calculate the vertex of a quadratic function, you need to first determine the values of a, b, and c. Then you're going to calculate the x-coordinate using the equation x equals negative b over 2a. Then plug the x-coordinate into the equation to find the y-coordinate. And then lastly, rewrite it as an ordered pair. So the first thing we need to do is identify the values of a, b, and c. So whatever's in front of the first one is a, so we could say a equals 2. In front of x is b, so b equals negative 12. And in front of, or the last number is c, so c equals 21. Now in order to find the vertex, we first need to find the x-coordinate. So the x-coordinate is negative b over 2a. So we have x equals negative times negative 12 over 2 times 2. If you multiply, it's going to become positive 12 over 4. And then when we divide, we'll get x equals 3. Now what we want to do from here is take the original equation, so y equals 2, and we're going to substitute the 3 in for x. So it's really 2 squared minus 12 times x plus 21. So we're going to take the x and plug it in. So it's going to be 3 squared and 3. Now if you plug this entire expression into the calculator, you'll get y. Now if we plug this entire expression into the calculator, you'll get that y equals 3. Now the vertex is always x comma y. So our ordered pair would be 3 comma 3. And that's your final answer. For the next example, we again want to identify a, b, and c. So in front of x squared is really 1. So we could say a equals 1, b equals 6, and c equals 8. Now the x-coordinate is still x equals negative b over 2a. So x equals negative times 6 over 2 times 1. If I multiply, you'll get negative 6 over 2. So x equals negative 3. Now we're going to plug that into the original equation. So our original equation was y equals x squared plus 6 times x plus 8. So I substitute the x in. So I'll get negative 3 and negative 3. And now if I plug this entire expression into the calculator, you get y equals, this means that the vertex is negative 3, negative 1. In our last example, the equation is y equals x squared, which can be rewritten as y equals x squared plus 0x plus 0. So this means that the value of a is really 1. The value of b equals 0, and the value of c equals 0. Now the x-coordinate of the vertex is negative b over 2a. So you'll have x equals negative times 0 over 2 times 1. So that gives us x equals 0 over 2, and if you divide, 0 divided by 2 gives you 0. Now the original equation was y equals x squared. It's going to be y equals that value of x squared. So if I plug that 0 in, 0 squared gives me 0. This means that the vertex is at 0, 0.
Now we will review word problems with quadratic equations.
First, you need to identify the quadratic equation from the word problem. Then you're going to determine either the maximum or minimum value.
And if we think about it, the maximum is of my quadratic graph would be the highest point, and the minimum of the quadratic or the parabola is the lowest point. So essentially, you're calculating where the vertex is. And then you will answer the question in context of the problem.
Our first example says a manufacturer determines that the number of drills it can sell is given by the formula D equals negative 3p squared plus 156p minus 310, where p is the price of the drills in dollars. And then we have our two questions. With this style of question, we're essentially finding the vertex. So if I want to find the vertex, we know that for the x-coordinates, x equals negative b over 2a. And from looking at what I have here, I know that a equals negative 3, b equals 156, and c equals negative 310. So now if I substitute, we'll get that x equals negative times 156 over 2 times negative 3. So that gives us x equals negative 156 over negative 6. And if you divide that in your calculator, you would get that x equals 26. Now, in terms of what we have here, this is really, our x is really written as p. So we could say that p equals 26. Now we want to plug into the original equation. So it's d equals negative 3 times whatever p is squared plus 156 times p minus 310. So if I substitute the 26, you'll get that d equals $1,718. Now, in order to answer the question, we want to know what price will the manufacturer sell the maximum number of drills. In the context given above, it says P is the price in dollars. So this means that our price in dollars is P. So it would be what we have down here. So the maximum price would be $26. And then it says, what is the maximum number of drills? Now, in terms of what we have here, it says a manufacturer determines the number of drills. And since it's given as this equation, this means that D is the number of drills. So this would be our answer for this part of the question. So we could say that it would be 1,718 drills. For the next example, it says Dalco Manufacturing estimates that the weekly profit P in hundreds of dollars can be approximated by the formula P equals negative 2x squared plus 8x plus 10, where x is the number of units produced per week in thousands. It says how many units should the company produce per week to earn the maximum profit. Now, in order to do this, we need to calculate the vertex. So if we're calculating the vertex, the x-coordinate is negative b over 2a. Whatever is the first number is a, so a is negative 2, b is 8, and c is 10. So if we substitute, we'll have x equals negative times 8 over 2 times negative 2. Now if we multiply, x equals negative 8 over negative 4, so I'll give you x equals 2. Now we want to plug into the original equation. So it's P equals -2 times x squared plus 8 times x plus 10. So I can substitute the 2 in for x. If you plug that whole thing into your calculator, you'll get that P is equal to 18. Now, to answer the question in context, it says how many units should the company produce per week to earn the maximum profit? And up above, it tells us that X is the number of units produced per week. So below, our answer for X is the final answer. So we should say that it would be 2 units. And it also says the next part is find the maximum weekly profit. The weekly profit, P, in hundreds of dollars, is the value of P. So this means that since P is 18, your answer should be $1,800.